This
a purchase
conference will
requisition,
now
right?
be recorded.
Where are we? We were able to create a purchase requisition during the previous class, right? So, okay, so we were able to create a purchase requisition. Now, what is next? The next activity is a release strategy or the approval mechanism for the purchase requisitions. Means you created a purchase requisition and it should go through the various levels of approval mechanism. So that is nothing but a release process or the release strategy, which we are going to use it in case of the purchase requisition. So it requires configuration. Okay, so let us say if you go to the in your organization, there are various levels of people you wanted to include in the release of the purchase requisition. So let me go to the, let us say in your company, some production department person, let us say level 1 person is nothing but supervisor of the production department. Supervisor of the production department. He created a requisition. So before it goes to the second level of approval, like assistant manager production, it should approved by the level 1 person thoroughly. Means he needs to cross check and he should approve that particular requisition. Then only it will go to the level 2 person. It is like your loan application. You applied for the loan. First, the loan application will be created and it will be reviewed by the supervisor of the loans department. Once he reviewed and said okay to that particular application, it will go to the next level for the approval, like that. So there will be some 6 to 7 people in the approval. So all the people needs to approve, then only it should go through the disbursement of the loan amount. So in the same way, if I create a purchase requisition, it should go through the various levels of approval. That is, level 1 is the supervisor of the production department. Then level 2, let us say level 1 approved it, and it should go through the assistant manager of the production department. He will again review and or is reject. Let us say supervisor of the production department created the requisition and it is not required, there is no budget. So then assistant manager can reject it. Then it will go to the level 3 is the manager of the production department. Then it go to the level 4. So level 4 is the senior manager of the production department. Then it go to the level 5. In SAP you can have maximum 8 levels for a particular release strategy or the approval mechanism. So let us say then it will go to the AGM production department. Then it will go to the level 6. Level 6 is the ZM production department. Then it will go to the level 7. Level 7 is if the requisition value is too high. Let us say requisition value is only 1000 rupees, then only three levels is fine. If the requisition value is more than 10 lakhs or 1 crore, so CEO of the company also will be involved in approving and reviewing the requisition. Also director of the company. Like that, based upon the value of the requisition, so you can include various type of people in the director company in the release strategy of the purchase requisition. Okay, so there are two types of, I can group all these levels into all these people into one group, nothing but a purchase requisition release group, PR release group. I am grouping all these people into one group that is known as a purchase requisition release group. So I can have the release group, I can give as a, let us say, PG. I can give the naming convention for the purchase requisition release group as a PZ. Okay, so then purchase requisition release strategy can be two types, that is without classification and with classification. PR release types. One is without classification, and with classification. Without and with classification. Without classification means there will be standard set of predefined parameters based upon which I am going to do the release strategy. So it is a SAP standard release strategy. SAP standard release strategy. Without classification is SAP standard release strategy. Based upon some parameters, I am going to trigger the release strategy, which is nothing but a standard. Like what are the parameters? Like item category and account assignment category. Then you have a plant, then purchase requisition value and material group. So these are the some of the parameters based upon which I wanted to trigger a purchase requisition release strategy without classification. These are SAP standard parameters based upon which I want to trigger the release strategy by using without classification. But this will be very rarely used functionality. Very rarely the companies will be using the SAP standard purchase requisition release strategy, which is without classification. With classification will be most commonly used release strategy. So here you can define your own parameters. Along with this, you can also define the purchase requisition, purchase organization. Along with this, you can have your own parameters like purchase organization and purchasing group and purchase requisition document type. Then you will have a company code and purchase requisition creation date. Like that, you can have your own set of parameters based upon which you can trigger the release strategy, which is nothing but with classification. So with classification is the mostly used purchase requisition release strategy in any one of the organization. Okay, so purchase requisition release strategy can be header level as well as the item level. So there are two header level purchase requisition release strategy and item level. So there are two types again. Within the with classification again two types. It can be a header level release or item level release. Mostly used purchase requisition release strategy will be item level release. So this is the mostly used one. So header level will be, if you want you can use it. What is header level? What is item level? Header level means if you have the release strategy configured at the header level, in the purchase requisition, if there are 999 line items, if you approve header level release strategy, that means all 999 line items are approved for the further procurement. Item level means if you have 10 line items in the purchase requisition, every line item you need to approve individually. So individual release is the item level release. If there are 10 line items, line item 1 you will approve individually for all the 8 levels. Line item 2 you will approve all the line items for all 8 levels in line item number 2. Like that, every line item will have its own release strategy. If you wanted to release only two line items of your purchase requisition and keep pending for line item 3 to 10, you can keep them pending. But in case of header level release, if there is a 10 line items in the purchase requisition, if you release at the header level, all the line items will be approved in one go. So that is nothing but a header level and the item level. But in case of the purchase requisition, mostly used purchase requisition release strategy is the item level release strategy. Okay, so there is something known as communication structure. So communication structure for the purchase requisition release strategy. So the communication structure for the purchase requisitions release strategy is CE-BAN. So what is communication structure? That is not mandatory for the functional consultants. It is a technical term, but just keep it in your mind. The communication structure that is used for the purchase requisitions release strategy is CE-BAN. Okay, so now let me get into the what are the steps that are available in the purchase requisition release strategy. Configuration steps. Those are configuration steps for the purchase requisition release strategy are: you need to edit class, edit characteristics. You need step number 1 in the purchase requisition release strategy is edit characteristics or create characteristics. So what is the transaction code to create a characteristics? That is CT04. Means I created a purchase requisition by using various parameters. So if I wanted to trigger a release strategy for those purchase requisition, what are the individual parameters that are available in the purchase requisition and going to take into consideration to create a purchase requisition release strategy? So the characteristics can be, there are various characteristics which you can use it to determine the purchase requisition release strategy. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky one. So if you are not able to understand, please let me know at any moment of time. Okay, are you able to follow what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So purchase requisition release strategy is a very, very important thing. So there will be a lot of interview questions. So you need to concentrate a lot upon this. Okay, so do you have any questions regarding the topics which we covered till now? Are you practicing or not? I think in this group, nobody is practicing, it seems.
Sir,
Pardon me?
actually, I'm unable to create source question. Creating the source question.
What is the error? Okay, so what we will do tomorrow, we will keep a session for half an hour to discuss the only the issues. But anyhow, in this class, we started with release strategy, right? Let us continue.
Oh.
But it seems, I think you are not practicing, just listening. That's what I can feel. Okay, so just keep a concentration upon the purchase requisition release strategy. It is very, very important topic. Okay, so the steps is edit characteristics, that is CT04. What is a characteristic? Characteristic is nothing but a parameter which I am using to set a particular purchase requisition relevant for the approval mechanism. So let me go to the SAP system and I will try to define the characteristics first. So What is the characteristic? Let me first explain the thing. So characteristic is nothing but a parameter. Okay, so I will go to the India 123. So I just open a purchase requisition. I will open the purchase requisition via ME53N. Okay, so this is the purchase requisition, let us say, and the parameters are the document type is one of the parameter. We have various document types like NB and JNB and IN. These are all the document types. So I will create one of the characteristic as a document type, and within that for that particular document type, I will define the characteristic values. So purchase requisition document type is one of the characteristic, and the characteristics values can be NB, 7NB, 9NB, ANB, FO, IN, NB. These are all the characteristic values. Characteristic is a purchase requisition document type. For that particular characteristic, the characteristic values are NB, ZIMP, all these things are characteristic values. Okay, then what is the next characteristic I can take? I can take a next characteristic as a purchase requisition plant. So plant is one of the characteristic. Okay, so what are the characteristic values for the plant? Like these and all the plants that are available over here, I can make them as a characteristic values like 001, 002 for the plant characteristic. Then purchasing group is one of the other characteristic. So I can make the characteristic values for the purchasing group as 000, 000, 102, etc. Then purchase organization as one of the other characteristic. Also the value of the purchase requisition line item is one of the characteristic. Also the purchase requisition creation date, also the account assignment category, item category. All these things can be created and defined as a characteristic type. Within the characteristic type, I can include the characteristic values. Like if I take a characteristic item category, so the characteristic values for the item category will be KLSUD. If any purchase requisition suffices the characteristic values which I maintained in the characteristics, so the relevant purchase requisition release strategy can be triggered. Okay, so let me know. So this is what is the meaning of the characteristic and the characteristic values. Okay, where is the configuration for the purchase requisitions? So the configuration is, it is under SPRO. So I will go to the SAP reference implementation guide. Then I will go to the materials management. Then go to the purchasing. Then go to the purchase requisition. Release procedure. I will go to the release procedure. So procedure with classification. So without classification, we are not going to use it. But the mostly used release strategy for the purchase requisitions are procedure with classification. So here we have a step number 1, that is edit characteristics. Okay, before defining the characteristics, I need to find out the characteristics that I am trying to consider for the purchase requisition release strategy. So what are the characteristics? I will go to one more screen. So I will go to SC11. SC11 is the transaction code to see the communication structure. So the communication structure which I mentioned over here is CE-BAN, right? So CE-BAN is the communication structure. So I will input the communication structure over here as CE-BAN, and I will go to the display mode. So this is the communication structure which I will be able to view over here. So it has so many fields within the communication structure CE band. Okay, so by looking into this particular communication structure, I can define the characteristics. Let us say one of the characteristic is purchase requisition document type. So I will take a purchase requisition document type as a characteristic number 1. Okay, so the characteristic number 1 is purchase requisition document type. Okay, what is the table and the field name? The table is CE band. And what is the relevant field? The relevant field is table is CE band or nothing but a structure. And within this you have a field value is BSART, right? So purchase requisition document type. Field value within the table CE band is BSART. So I need to specify this thing as a over here. And I will give some coding to the purchase requisition document type. Any coding I can give. I can give L, PR, doc type, D type. You can give your own coding, but I have given my own coding over here is purchase requisition doc type L, PR, doc type is characteristic number 1. So the characteristic number 2 is the purchasing group. So I can take purchasing group as the characteristic number 2. And what is the field value for the purchasing group? That is CE band EKGRP. EKGRP, right? So CE band EKGRP and LP or purchasing group, right? PRGRP, LPRGRP, purchase requisition group, right? So LPGRP. And the next characteristic is the plant, that is CE band works, that is CE band works. And L plant, LPR plant. Then you can take anything as a characteristic, but these are the mostly used characteristics. Okay, so then if I want to have, I can have material group. Okay, but I don't want to take material group. Then what is the purchase requisition creation date? So this I can take as a creation date as a one of the characteristic, and that is CE band BADAT, right? BADAT and L PR creation date, CR date. Okay, then you have purchase organization, that is EKORG. So I can take purchase organization as one of the characteristic, that is CE band EKORG and LP purchase organization, LPORG 9. Okay, then you have a purchase requisition value, so GSWRT, right? So total value of the item is GSWRT. CE band GSWRT, that is LPR value LPR value 9. Okay, like that you can define your own characteristics. Once the characteristics are defined, you need to create those characteristics. How you will create? I will go to the CT04 and I will try to create these characteristics. How I will create the characteristics? I will go to the edit characteristics and I will input the characteristic name. So this is the characteristics name and I will go to the create, and the description I can put it as purchase requisition document type, and I will go to the multiple values. I will select multiple values. I will go to additional data and the table is CE BAN and the field name is BSA RT. So I just enter and save it. So I am able to create a purchase requisition document type LPR D type. So now purchasing group, I will select and I will input over here and I will go to the create and I can give the description as purchasing group. Go to the multiple values, additional data, CE BAN, then you have a EKGRP, right? EKGRP is the field name. So I will select multiple values and I will save it. Then LPR blank. I will go to the create and I will select. I can give the description as plant over here. I will go to the multiple values, additional data, CE BAN, and works is the field name, right? So I will select works. So I just enter. The next characteristic is creation date, purchase requisition creation date. I will enter, I will go to the create and I will input the purchase requisition creation date over here. I will go to the multiple values, additional data, CE BAN, BADAT, right? So BADAT, BDAT, right? BADAT or BDAT? I think let me check. BADAT, right? Creation date. So BADAT is the purchase requisition creation date, and I will save it. Now I will go to the purchase organization. I will go to the create, and I can give the naming convention as purchase organization, multiple values, additional data, CE BAN, EKORG is nothing but a purchase organization characteristic. So I just saved it. Now I will go to the total value of the purchase requisition. I will go to the create and total value of the purchase requisition, and I will go to the multiple values and additional data, CE BAN, GSWRT, right? So GSWRT is the field name. So GSWRT. So what is the currency? When I say value, so the value should be in INR or Euro. Let us say it is in INR, and I can select interval values allowed as well. When I say interval values allowed, that means 0 to 1000 rupees and 1001 to 2000 rupees, 2001 to 10,000 rupees. Like that, I can maintain the characteristic values in the form of intervals as well. So that is nothing but intervals allowed for this particular characteristic. So I just save it. So with this we are all able to create a characteristics. Any doubts over here? Hello?
No, sir, it is clear.
Okay. Okay, so let me now go to the, I created the characteristics. Now the step number 2 is the class. So edit class. So I am going to create a class known as PR class 9. You can give anything, but I am going to create a class as PR class 7, and the class type will be always 032. A release strategy class type will be always 32, whether it is a purchase requisition release or contract release or the purchase order release, anything, it can be a 032. It is a SAP standard, so you just need to select 032. So I will go to the, what is the creation code for the class? That is CL02. CL02 is the transaction code to create the class. Otherwise you can create via configuration node as well. So I will go to the edit classes. So what is the class? I am going to create a class PR class 7, and the class type is 032, and I will click on create. So I can give the description as PR class, anything I can give. Purchase requisition class creation. Then I will go to the characteristics. You see there is something known as characteristics, and whatever may be the characteristics I created, I will copy and assign it over here. So I will save it. So we were able to create a class, whatever may be the characteristics I created. So I am going to assign them to the class. For the class type PR class 7 is now created. So then what is the next step? Step number 3 is set up release strategy with classification. So I will select this, and the step number 3 is set up release strategy with the classification. So within this again we have some further steps. So what are further steps? I will go to the setup procedure with the classification. Again you have a release groups and release codes, release groups and release codes, and release indicator. So release indicator, then release strategy and workflow. Okay, what is the release group? So a release group is nothing but a group of people. Let us say I defined, right? So there are 8 levels of people involved in the purchase requisition release strategy, like supervisor, assistant manager. All these people, I am grouping them into a one of the release group known as purchase requisition release group. That is nothing but PG. So PG is the purchase requisition release group, and what are the release codes? Release codes are nothing but the levels that are involved in the purchase requisition release. So these are all the release codes. These 8 levels of people are release code 1, release code 2, release code 3. Like that, I have 8 levels of release codes over here. Okay, so let me now try to define the release groups. I will try to define the release group. So where I will define the release group, I will go to the release groups creation, and here I will select and I will delete the existing release group. Okay, so now I will go to the new entries. And what is the release group? That is PG. PG is the release group. For the release group PG, I will assign the class which I have created. What is the class? I created the class is PR class 7. Okay, so I created a release group. For the release group, I have assigned the PR class 7, which I have created as a class. So if I want a purchase requisition release strategy as a header level, I will select this thing, overall purchase requisition release. If I wanted to create a item level release, I will unselect this. So normally purchase requisitions will have the item level release only. That is the reason I am keeping this as unchecked. So I will save it. Then I will go to the release codes. So what are the release codes? There are 8 levels of the release codes. We have 8 levels of the release codes. Like you have, what is the release group? I will go to the new entries, and for a particular release code and the release group combination. So my release group is PG. So I will create a release codes for the combination of the release group. Okay, so what is my release group and the release codes? So my release group is PC and the release group code are level 1, level 2, level 3, like that. For the particular release group and the release code combination, I will select a workflow as a 1. So if I click in F4 over here, you will see the workflow setting as a 1. Okay, so what is workflow? Workflow is nothing but a automatic mail trigger functionality. Means if level 1 person approved the requisition, a automatic mail will be triggered to the level 2 person stating that so and so purchase requisition is pending for your approval. Could you please act upon it? Like that, a automatic mail will be triggered. If you want that type of functionality, you need to select workflow as 1. Okay, so for each and every release group, I will select the workflow as 1. Okay, so then what is the description? So the description of the each and every release code is, so these are the descriptions, right? So level 1 is a supervisor, level 2 is a assistant manager, like that. So for a particular release group and the release code and the workflow combination, I need to select a description over here. So I will just save it. Okay, so I will give purchase requisition release strategy configuration. PR release. Okay, so for a particular release group and the level code combination and the workflow, we need to make the description settings over here. So I will now go back, and the release indicator. So release indicator is nothing but, so the next one is the release indicator. I am not going to create any new release indicators. I will use existing release indicators only. That is S2 for RFQ and purchase order. I will take 2 RFQ and purchase order, and B for blocked, 8 S for blocked. Release indicator means if a purchase requisition is completely approved by the, let us say I created a purchase requisition, only one level approved. So that means my purchase requisition is still under blocked condition, means I will not be able to convert the purchase requisition into a purchase order. So that means the status of the purchase requisition is under still blocked condition only. If I create a purchase requisition, all the 8 levels of people are approved that particular requisition. That means my purchase requisition status is into ready for converting them into a RFQ or PO. So you can have the purchase requisition release code as R. R is nothing but a release. The status of the purchase requisition is a release. Or you can also have it too. That means the purchase requisition can be ready for creating into your request for quotation and PO. So like that you can have the two statuses for a particular purchase requisition release. We will see how does this impact. Okay, we will see in the next steps what is the meaning of the release indicator. We will see. So then there is a release strategy step. So within the release strategy, I will go to the release strategy step. I will go to the release strategies. I will double click on it. New entries. So the release group is PZ and the release strategy I can give it as Z1. Anything I can give, that is PZ and Z1. Okay, for Z1 and here I can put purchase requisition release greater than or equal to 0 rupees. Means if I create a purchase requisition which has a value equals to 0 or greater than 0, then these 8 levels of people should involve in the approval of the purchase requisition. So I am going to put it over here. I just enter. Okay, so I will go to the release prerequisites. Means if level 1 person wants to approve, he can directly get into the purchase requisition and he can approve. If level 2 wants to approve, so the level 1 should approve first. Then only level 2 will be authorized to approve the purchase requisition. If level 3 wants to approve, level 1 and level 2 should approve first. Then only level 3 will be able to approve it. If level 8 wants to approve the requisition, all preceding levels like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7 should approve the requisition first. Then level 8 only will be able to release the requisition. So that is the reason I will select the below ones activated over here like this. So I just save it. I will click on continue. Now I will go to the release statuses. See here, no person approved or taken action on the release of the purchase requisition. That means my requisition status is under blocked category. Yes, S is nothing but a release status, that is a blocked. This is the release indicator blocked. Means I will not be able to convert a requisition into order or the contract. Why? Because it is still not approved. 7 people approved the requisition, but 8th person did not approve. It is still under blocked condition for the procurement activities. All 8 people approved. That means my requisition status now is into ready for converting the requisition into a request for quotation and the purchase order, which is nothing but a status 2. Sometimes you can have the status R. R means it is a released. So, but here we don't have R, we have 2. Okay, so I will continue. Did you get it? What is the meaning of this release statuses?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt over here?
No, sir.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, now we have when the amount is greater than or equal to 0, we have applied all these 8 levels, right? Now if I want to like a certain amount, first level 1 and level 2. After the amount is increased to like for up to 1 lakh, level 1 and level 2. After 1 lakh, level 3 and level 4. Can I use such types?
Yes, you can create multiple purchase requisition release strategies.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
in one release strategy, you can have only 2 levels where you
Okay.
have the characteristic as 0 to 1000. In the
Okay.
another release strategy, you can have 1001 to 10,000 rupees where you
Okay.
will have 3 levels. So
Okay.
you can do all those things.
So now we have created only level 1, like less than or equal to 0. That is, like that we have to create multiple, right, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Right, sir. Got it.
Okay, now I will go to the continue button. So now I will go to the classification. So in the classification, whatever may be the class I have created, the class is PR class 7 and the class type 032, and for the release strategy PZ and Z1, I can see the characteristics which I have created and assigned to the class PR class 7. So these are all the characteristics. Okay, so now what I will do, I will go to the next button and I will click on release simulation and I will click on OK and I will try to save it. Okay, so now I need to maintain the characteristic values for the class. So these are all the characteristics, right? Purchase requisition document type. So I need to maintain the characteristic values, means what are the purchase requisition document types that are applicable for this particular release strategy? What are the purchasing groups that are applicable for this release? What are the plans that are applicable for this particular release strategy? So those details I need to maintain as a characteristic value. Where I will be maintaining? I will be maintaining under altogether a separate transaction code known as CL24N. So I will go to the CL24N transaction code where I will maintain the characteristic values. So I will go to CL24N and this is the class and the class type is 032. So what is the release strategy that is being triggered for this particular TRR release on 032? This is the release strategy, right? So I will go down. So I can maintain the characteristic values, means for the purchase requisition document type, what are the document types of the purchase requisition relevant for this release? So I can put NB is one of the document type, F4 and UB and 9NB. Like that, you can have multiple entries for the purchase requisition document type. For the document type that you created for the purchase requisition can be entered. So there are so many document types, right? But I just maintained only minimum. So these and all the document types we created, right? JNN, JNB, all those things. All these things you can maintain it as a characteristic value for the trigger of the release strategy. So I can maintain all, but I maintain only some. And purchasing group. So there are so many purchasing groups like 000, 001, 002, 003, 004, 005, like that. Means these and all the purchasing groups that are relevant for this particular release strategy. Plant, you can have multiple plants, but I am maintaining IN47, IN48, etc. And the purchase requisition date, the purchase requisition date can be a greater than or equals to today's date. Means today is 30/05/2022, right? Not yellow interval values, not yellow interval values. Means a purchase order which is being created today can be valid for this particular purchase requisition release strategy. So I just specified the characteristic values. Means for the date, a purchase requisition created on today's date and tomorrow date will be valid for this particular purchase requisition release. Purchase organization. I can have multiple purchase organizations. N48, etc. Then the total value of the requisition. I have a greater than or equal to 0. Means I can have multiple characteristics like 0 to 1000 is one of the characteristics. 1001 to 10,000 is one of the characteristics. 10,001 to 1 lakh is one of the characteristics. 1 lakh 1 to up to 50 lakhs is one of the characteristics. Like that, I can have the multiple characteristic values for the value. Okay, so I just save it. Okay, so we can stop the session here today, and tomorrow we can continue from here. So we were able to create a characteristic values for the characteristic values we were able to create, right? Okay, so you try to create a release strategy till here today and let me know, show me tomorrow. Okay, try to create the same release strategy, same the way how I created, and show me tomorrow at least. Okay, so tomorrow I will see if anybody is able to successfully create the release strategy till here.
Okay.
Okay, then thank you. Bye bye.